Hello and welcome everyone to information session on AI strategies for business transformation. I'm going to wait a few more seconds until you all find a way into our virtual classroom. So my name is Rudolf or Rudi Faller. I'll be your moderator today. So once again, if you came here for AI strategies for business transformation, pre-enrollment session or information session, then you're in the right place. So I'll see that you're still trickling in. Yes, we're carding everybody at the door, making sure you're at the right place. So AI strategies for business transformation from Kellogg's. And together with me, of course, we have a faculty, the lead faculty on the program, Professor Mohan Soni. So you will hear from him most in a moment. So once again, yes, I think you are all in. So let us find out a little bit more about you. So we have a bit of an idea how international this crowd is. Maybe what brought you to take this program, or what brought you to be interested in this program. So if you can drop it in the chat, where are you connecting from? And if you can also say why you're interested in this program. So let's see. Okay, you can put that in the chat. Let's see if we have a couple of names and a couple of countries here. All right. Anybody from Illinois? Anybody from Chicago? Anybody from Evanston? All right, there we go. All right, US, Virginia. All right. So USVA in the house. Okay. Anybody else? If you can just let us know where you're connecting from. Yes, I see that now. Finally went through. So Mexico in the house, Florida in the house, New York, Minneapolis. Okay. Savannah, Georgia. Yes, been there. All right. Highland Park, Illinois. All right. And Jocelyn says New York. I've taken courses before, but wanted to learn more about this particular course, of course. We got Dubai in the house, and we got California in the house, Miami, Florida, and a few more people from Atlanta, Georgia, Boston as well. Okay, fantastic. So great crowd. So welcome everyone. Once again, we're going to talk about AI strategies for business transformation. And Mohan, dear, maybe if you want to just say a quick hello for now, Mohan.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. And pleased to tell you more about the program after Rudolph gives us an overview.
All right, so this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to give you a little bit of overview of Kellogg's Executive Education. Hopefully, if you join the session, you know that Kellogg's is a fantastic school, which is part of Northwestern University in Evanston and Chicago, and also in Miami if you're joining from the South as well. So here is what sets this apart, right? This is a global business school which empowers business leaders to foster growth. It has renowned faculty, many successful alumni. I'll show you that in a second as well. So you see 65,000 or over 65,000 alumni, which is great. You have also a number of them serving as CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. Many of the Kellogg students also founded businesses themselves. In the last 10 years, we think they've raised more than $19 billion. And it has a great network of campuses in its executive education network as well. So what sets Kellogg apart? I started to talk about that, but more specifically, it's a thirst for creativity in innovation. So you will see this throughout the program. Hopefully you will feel it. There is a lot of focus on innovation, on creativity, but also on discussion, right? Through exchange of ideas between faculty and the students. So discussion participation is important, and engagement as well, especially in the online context as well. And also the Kellogg keeps an eye on empathy. So Kellogg's prepares leaders, but empathetic leaders. So something to bear in mind as well. And why are we here, right? So we're going to talk about AI strategies for business transformation. And you can see it here on the slide. I think, of course, everybody's heard this in the last couple of years, generative AI. And you see here some of the quotes from BCG, Forbes, and Salesforce that, well, over 83% of the organizations, they say AI or AI strategy is a top priority for them. But at the same time, 3/4 yet have to show any tangible business benefits coming from AI. And they're technology people or IT people. Over 60% of them say that it is hard to integrate generative AI with the current tech stack as well. So we see a great potential. But of course, when you focus on the business and enterprise use, there are also some challenges. And hopefully in this course over the 8 weeks, you will gain insights on how AI can help you, but also how to actually make it work so that you see some tangible business results in your companies. So who is this program for? You'll see here, first and foremost, executives, strategic decision makers. So it's not about coding in this course as much as it is about understanding what are the actionable AI opportunities. What can you do to achieve your strategic goals? At the same time, you may be coming from the technology environment where AI has just come to the top of the priorities list for you. So yes, you will also learn about generative AI capabilities, how to align AI solutions with what you are working on in your industry, and not last but least, still two more groups that we think they would find this useful. Number one is functional heads and department leaders. So that these could be the heads of support functions, even, finance, marketing, HR, depending on the industry and the company, of course. And also, at the same time, you may not be an insider, but you may be a consultant or an advisor or an investor. So all of those groups we think will benefit greatly from this program. So now let's hear from Mohan, and he can introduce his background and we can talk about the curriculum. Also, if you have questions, you can put them in the Q&A or in the chat, ideally just one of those. We budgeted plenty of time towards the end, but of course, if you have questions throughout, please shoot them as we go. So welcome everyone, and let's hear from Mohan.
Thank you, Rudolph, and good morning, folks. I am joining you from Evanston this morning, and I'm delighted to welcome you to this webinar. We'll tell you a little bit more about this program. The first thing that I want to say is that this program has been in existence for a good 6 years now. In fact, it was first launched in 2019. But as of January and February of this year, I've completely revamped the program. So what you are experiencing is a brand new version 2 of the program. Obviously, the field of AI advances very quickly. So what you're going to see is the state of the art with the latest developments in agentic frameworks and generative AI built into the program. So what I can promise you is that what you're going to be experiencing is state of the art as of now. And a little bit, I mean, there's a lot on this slide, and I don't want to belabor sort of who I am and what I do, but all I can tell you is I've spent 35 years in academia. And throughout that time, my work has been at the intersection of technology and innovation and marketing. I teach product management, I teach technology marketing, I teach digital marketing, I teach innovation, and I run a number of executive programs in AI. And in the space of artificial intelligence, I'm actually working with many of the leading companies, both on the tech side, the hyperscalers. So Microsoft is a client. I work with Salesforce very closely, Adobe, and so on. But I've also been helping companies who are implementing AI strategies. And then I also work with a number of AI startups who are in the human resources, AI space. They are in the legal contract review using AI space, number of interesting AI startups. And I'm actually working on my own little AI startup that is aiming to build an agentic framework for product management, sort of like a virtual product manager. So I write case studies, I work with companies, I serve on boards, I work with startups. So this keeps me busy. Most importantly, it keeps me grounded in what is happening in the world. So this is, and I think above all, to me, this is the value proposition of this program. It brings you the best of academia and the best of practice, because I have legs in both places. I spend a third of my time traveling around working with companies. All right, so about the program. Let me sort of articulate the core benefits here, right? So now clearly, all of you are seeing the urgency and the importance of AI. It's perhaps the most, look, I've seen a lot of technologies come and a lot of technologies go. I'm not new to this game. I started with e-commerce and the internet in 1995. Then we went through mobile, then we went through digital and so on. But what I've seen in the past few years, the scale and the scope of the change and the disruption and the potential and the transformation that AI represents is beyond anything that I've seen, both in terms of the breadth and depth of what it enables, but also the speed at which it is advancing, right? But in order to sort of make sense of this confusing world, you need lenses, you need structure, you need frameworks. And obviously, you can read the press, you can read articles, you can subscribe to blogs, you can do all of that. But what I want to do is to give you some frameworks that will ground you, right? Frameworks that help you to understand how do we assess our maturity in this AI journey, capability maturity. Frameworks such as the AI radar, which will tell you where should we focus our efforts and where's the low-hanging fruit? How should we allocate our investments across the portfolio of use cases and initiatives? Frameworks like the responsible AI framework that tells you sort of how should we make sure that we are governing AI in the most intelligent and responsible way. So these frameworks are something that, by the way, these are all proprietary frameworks. These are not frameworks I've learned from elsewhere. These are frameworks I've developed particularly for this program. And you'll notice, by the way, a lot of 2.0s here. The AI Canvas 2.0, the AI Radar 2.0, Capability Maturity Model 2.0, because these are all next versions of frameworks that I had developed originally for the AI course. The other thing that I think is a very important benefit here is that we are going to take an enterprise and business process view. That's the core distinction. There are a number of AI programs out there, but they focus on the technologies, from natural language processing and machine learning to generative AI and so on. We will cover the landscape, but this program is designed to get you into the use cases. How do we actually unlock business value? And the way we are going to organize this is we look at your entire enterprise. We're going to start with sort of the customer facing, then we're going to look at operations and supply chain, then we're going to look at all of the support functions. So I take a value chain, business process, enterprise view. And one of the hallmarks of this program also is the exercises and the capstone project, which will force you to sort of apply these ideas, put them into action, and actually contextualize them for your particular company or purpose. So moving on, let me go through sort of the program in more detail. So we'll start first with setting the stage, the landscape, right? So we'll look at sort of the foundations of AI, and here I'll take you through sort of 3 generations of evolution, from prediction, which was machine learning, to creation, which was generative AI, to autonomy, which is agents and agentic AI, agentic mass, right? So we're going to talk about sort of the different types of AI and applications, and also introduce a framework called the AI Canvas that helps you to understand how to assess business cases. We'll look at the landscape, we'll look at the technologies, the platforms, the players, so this is your sort of foundational module. Moving on, we'll immediately jump into the enterprise view, right? So in module 2, we're going to focus on the customer management applications of AI, right? So we're going to define the customer experience, the end life cycle. By the way, I call this A to A, from awareness to advocacy, the whole. It's not just the purchase cycle. We're looking at the whole customer experience. And by the way, and also I don't like distinction between marketing, sales, and service. To me, everything is customer management. So we're going to look at that whole life cycle framework, and then we're going to look at how generative and agentic AI help you to improve or power the customer experience at each stages. And the approach that we're going to take is a jobs to be done approach. I mean, this is my favorite framework, the jobs to be done, because I teach product management. So we look at what you need to do across this customer experience, what jobs you need to do as an organization, and what jobs customers want to do, right? In terms of, for instance, they want to learn more, they want to evaluate the options, they want to make a choice, then they want to engage. So those are the jobs they do. And in terms of the jobs that you do are, we identify customers, we attract their attention, we try to convert them, then we get them to paid customers, and then we try to retain them, and then create advocacy. So that's basically what we will do here is we'll focus on customer management using the jobs to be done framework. And we're going to look at how you enhance marketing, sales, and service, which is all of the customer-facing functions, which, by the way, I think is a very rich target area for generative AI and agentic AI. Because whenever you have conversations or interactions with human beings, that's what generative AI does its best job. In module 3, we will look at the back office, right? So this is the operations. So there we're going to look at the entire operations ecosystem, right? Everything from sourcing, which is the supply chain management, to manufacturing, to warehousing, to delivery and last mile. So we're going to look at that whole operations. By the way, one thing you'll notice in each module is I'm going to take some sort of a life cycle construct, some sort of a framework to hang the use cases on. And once we do this sort of 5-stage operations ecosystem, we're going to look at use cases across the entire process, right? So we're going to and by the way, as opposed to customer experience management, where I see generative AI as the core AI technology, the type of AI that will transform the experience. In operations, it's more traditional machine learning applications. So we're going to actually look at how you can do, for instance, smart manufacturing, smart sourcing, predictive diagnosis and maintenance, and so on. And even our case study, which is the Enerwind, which is actually based on a real company that is in the wind farm at this business. We'll look at a predictive maintenance application and how you can decide sort of how do you minimize the downtime of wind turbines in an energy farm. So that's the operations. But then moving on, your company not only manages customers and builds product, whether these are the line functions, right? But it's also there are a number of enabling or support functions that are critical for the organization. Whether these enabling functions are like the foundation upon which your organization rests. So in the 4th module, we're going to look at how AI is enabling and empowering those support functions. And we're going to look at specifically 4 functions, right? Which is managing people, HR, right? Managing money, which is finance, managing systems, which is IT, and then managing risk and compliance. So if you really think carefully about this actually, these four enabling functions cover a lot of the C-level functions in your enterprise: the CO, the CFO, the CHRO, the CIO, and so on, right? The Chief Compliance Officer. Here again, within each of these functions, we're going to look at jobs to be done. For instance, in HR, we're going to look at the whole HR cycle, from sort of, interviewing employees, attracting them, hiring them, developing them, retaining them, redeploying the talent. And so that's so. By the way, I don't see much of a difference between customer management and employee management. Employee relationship management takes a similar life cycle view. And then we're going to look at AI use cases across that entire employee cycle. So here again, we're going to use the jobs to be done framework, right? Now we're going to do the same thing with finance. We're going to look at both managing cash, managing receivables, managing your capital investments, and so on. So we're going to really go deep into all of these support functions, the jobs to be done, and how they get enabled by specific AI platforms and tools. So that's the business support functions. So this then allows us to cover the entire enterprise value chain. If you've been tracking me so far, what I've talked about is in module 1, we looked at the overall landscape. Module 2, we looked at customer management. Module 3, we looked at operations and supply chain management. And then module 4, we looked at all the support functions. So we're done with the enterprise as a horizontal construct, as a business process view. Moving on in module 5, we're going to switch gears and we're going to go vertical. Right? Because while it is important to understand how AI applications can transform marketing and sales and operations and supply chain and logistics and so on, it is also important to understand how AI applications and use cases will transform financial services, healthcare, retail, transportation. So these are the vertical views. So in module 5, we're going to look at 3 industries in depth. And why I picked these 3 industries, or these are the 3 industries that I think have the greatest surface area in terms of the size of the industries, but also the most potential for AI improvement. So healthcare, if you look at healthcare, I mean, in the United States, we spend almost 20% of the GDP on healthcare. And clearly it's a very complex domain, and there are just so many potential applications of AI and so many challenges too. BFSI, another big sector, banking, financial services, and insurance, right? And so we're going to do deep dives into these industries. And and we're going to look at sort of how AI is transforming each of these spaces, and what can you do, and what are some of the use cases in finance, and what are the use cases in healthcare. And I'm going to bring a lot of my consulting expertise into this. We will do case studies with real companies. For example, we'll go through a case study of looking at how do you reduce hospital readmission cases using AI, or how do you do fraud detection and prevention in financial services. And one of the other frameworks that you will use in this module is something called an industry blueprint. So this industry blueprint is a verticalization of all the frameworks that we've discussed earlier. Remember, we talked about the Canvas, the radar, and so on. But now you're going to build this for an industry, and the neat thing is you'll do this for your industry. So we'll show you how you take these horizontal frameworks and apply them to an industry, and particularly the industry that you are interested in. Okay. Moving on in module 6, this is a module I'm pretty excited about. And this is the idea of how AI interacts with creativity. Now, there was a time when we believed that humans are creative and AI cannot be, but AI can actually enhance creativity. It can supplement creativity. It can complement creativity. So in this module, this is also a vertical module. It's also industry specific, but I'm looking at the creative industries here. Media, art, design. So media, for instance, we're going to look at the whole advertising industry. And we're going to look at architecture. We're going to look at design, product design. We're going to look at art, movie making, and so on. So all of these creative realms, we're going to look at how humans and AI can co-create media, entertainment, fashion, advertising, architecture. And what are some of the ethical considerations? By the way, here you also have IP challenges, right? If you're using other people's creative work to create your own creative AI applications, what are the licensing implications of that? So I do believe that creative industries are going to be transformed with AI, but the perspective I'm going to take here is human plus AI. I don't see humans substituted with AI. By the way, if it was left to me, I would say AI should stand for augmented intelligence, not artificial intelligence. So this is a very unique module that I've created from scratch in this version of the program, and that is to look at sort of how all creative work gets transformed using AI. So now we've done with the verticals, we're done with the horizontals. In module 7, we start now talking about capabilities. So So this is about now leading the transformation process. So we're going to talk about the strategy, and this is where we talk about the capability maturity model. We'll talk about how we organize for AI. Right? How should we build the AI organization? Should it be centralized? Should it be decentralized? Should it be federated? And our goal here is ultimately to move towards an autonomous enterprise or a sentient enterprise where you'll have business processes running autonomously or semi-autonomously. So this is the strategy capabilities module related to kind of how we build the capabilities and how we transform the organization. Finally, in the last module, we will talk about AI and society. Right? So this is where we need to step back and take a big picture look at ethics, at regulations. What is the societal impact of AI? Right? Labor markets, policy, and ethics. How you can apply AI in a responsible way, AI for good, and how do we deal with some of the data challenges, privacy challenges, regulatory challenges, ethical challenges, moral challenges in the context of AI. And obviously a question that is on a lot of our minds, and a lot of your minds, is what happens to jobs? Right? Where are the jobs in the future? So I'm going to give you perspectives there on where I see skills and jobs evolving, because there again, my perspective is AI will not replace jobs. AI will displace jobs, right? So the work that you will do, the content of the work, the structure of the work, the workflows will change. So we'll talk about these human AI pairings and combinations. So that's the 8 modules, and you can see that we've taken a very industry and enterprise focused view. We've taken a strategic view. So this is not a program that gets you into the guts of the algorithm. This is a program that, as a business decision maker, as a business leader, as a decision maker, how do you unlock value from AI across the enterprise? That's really the idea we're talking about here. All right, a little bit about the frameworks here, right? So, one of the challenges that you face in creating a program on AI is the timeliness versus the timelessness, right? So how do you future-proof a program like this? Because things are changing so quickly. Literally every week you wake up and there's something like, for instance, yes, last week Google announced VO3, which is their new video creation tool, which is a breakthrough. And so there's going to have something happening every week. But fundamentals remain the same, right? Fundamentals like, where should we invest in AI? How should we frame a business case? How should we evolve our capabilities? How should we think about the customer journey? What are the principles of responsible AI? So the AI radar, the AI canvas, the AI capability maturity model, the customer experience DNA framework, the principles of responsible AI, these are, or the vertical industry blueprint, these are frameworks that are timeless. And each of these, as you can see, have evolved in this program to create the second version that really incorporates the latest developments. So while we have also updated the content in terms of what is timeless? The framework. What is timely? Timely are examples, case studies, applications, and those will evolve. And we've updated all of those in this program, but we will also complement this with the live sessions. I'm also going to do live sessions with you where we can talk about the latest developments and you can bring your perspectives. So this really is meant to be a program that will stand the test of the future, but at the same time keep you current, which is, by the way, not an easy challenge as you design a program like this. Something that I had to think very carefully about. I don't want a program that's going to be out of date in 6 months or a year or 2 years. So these principles, I believe, are timeless. They've already persisted for 6 years. I've been doing this in 2019, but we have continued to evolve them so that you stay current and stay at the state of the art. So the last thing I want to talk about is, in terms of the program, is the case studies and the capstone. So in the case studies, we're going to actually look at how we apply these frameworks, right? So I told you about Enerwind. So in Enerwind, by the way, just to give you a sense for what I believe is unique in this program, Enerwind is based on a real consulting client that company called Bhavan Cybertech works with. And I'm on the board of Bhavan Cybertech. I've been with the company for 20 plus years. So I know, so I bring the real world perspective from this client. And, we step into the shoes here and look at how we do predictive maintenance and so on and so forth, right? And similarly, sort of this banking project that we've created here, so here I've looked at sort of the state of the art in what you can do with agentic AI and generative AI, and how you can write a memo to the CEO. So the cases will bring the frameworks and ideas to life, and they're based on real context and my real consulting experience. Now on the capstone project, I'm going to skip the industry examples except to say 2 things. 1, we will cover a lot of industries, and 2, I do not promise we can cover every industry. So please, I'm anticipating a question saying, well, I'm in agriculture or I'm in, whatever. So the examples will cross a bunch of industries, right? And but at the same time, this is not meant to be sort of a course that is comprehensive across all industries. Frameworks that we build will be applicable across industries, right? So now on the capstone, the idea here is to actually apply and synthesize all the frameworks and apply them to your company. So what you are going to be doing throughout the program is a detailed document that we call the memo to the CEO. So this memo to the CEO is really a business transformation initiative that you will suggest to your company. By the way, in past versions of this program, people have actually gone and presented the memo to the CEO to the CEO. So as you go through each of the modules, you're going to build aspects of this, right? Customer facing issues, your operational issues, and then the frameworks, assessing your capability maturity, figuring out responsible AI principles. So what is this? This is designed to be basically a complete initiative or plan for transformation of your company that you will present to the CEO. So that is the capstone. So the capstone will be threaded through the program, but then you will have a final deliverable and final development. So that, folks, is the learning journey. It's something that I spent a lot of time thinking through and a lot of experience. We've had several thousand people go through the AI strategies course, and they have provided us feedback. And what we're presenting to you this time, is a completely redesigned program that is really kind of represents the state of the art, combines rigor and relevance, combines academic frameworks with real world case studies, applies these ideas, and also includes live sessions where I'll be able to bring the latest thinking to you. So with that, now I'm going to turn it over back to Rudolph to talk about operational and logistical details and how you sign up for the program. Then we'll take your questions.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Mohan. And also, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A. Don't hesitate. That's why we have Mohan here as well. And the team also is on the call in case you have any organizational questions, etc. So what are the key features? How will that program look for you from day-to-day perspective? And I will respond also to a question about live faculty session or office hours that you will have. So these are the live sessions that will complement the recorded videos. They are not mandatory. They are meant to help you, so they are optional. In case you cannot make them, they will be recorded. So faculty session and weekly office hours, they're live. It's meant to be an interactive session each and every time, but they are recorded. And when it comes to the time zone, we of course are mindful that you are all over the world. So this is designed to work for as many people across as many time zones as possible. Starting with Chicago. So most likely it will be at the same time as now or a little bit later, so that you in Europe as well and in Asia, you can join as well. So that's on the timing of the sessions. As I said, they will be recorded as well, so you don't need to stress about it too much. Peer learning and networking as well, I think, is very important. You will have discussion forum where you can participate and learn from others as well, because generally we have people with lots of industry experience, AI experience. So that's an additional source and perspective that you shouldn't miss, I think. We already talked about cutting edge curriculum. So this is as new as it gets. Plus, at the same time, Mohan was talking about the frameworks being timeless, right? So there was also a question, if there are frameworks updated, do we get an update? There will not be updates throughout the 8 weeks, of course. And when it comes to the course website, you will have the access to the course website for at least 1 year from the start. But the frameworks are designed to be timeless and to work across different industries. So also regarding your question about, is this useful for private label, FMCG, etc.? Yes, to the extent that as well as we talked about, we cover different kind of nuances in industries such as Coca-Cola, Axonify, Zebra, Amtrak, Netflix, and G Healthcare. But it is industry agnostic program, right? So let me see, some other questions are coming in. Okay. I don't know, Mohan, if you know about the 4-day program in July. There is a question here.
I can talk about that. Yeah. So there's so I think what the question that is being asked refers to a program called AI at Scale. That is a live virtual program that we are offering in July. So conceptually, the program is different in 3 ways. First of all, this program is designed to give you a certification, is designed to go in depth, and let me turn my video on. Sorry, I forgot. So it's designed to give you a certification. It's designed to go in depth, and it is also requires you to do, it's evaluative work, right? assignments, grading, the capstone project. The 4-day program is an executive program, which is a live virtual cohort-based experience. There's no evaluation, there's no modules, and there's no asynchronous content. So conceptually, that program is, if you want to come for 4 days and you want to interact with a group of senior executives, and you are a senior executive, and you don't want to get bogged down with assignments and certifications and so on, that's the program for you, right? So that's one important difference. That is designed to be sort of a 4-day executive education experience that is cohort based, where you have a lot of live interactions. This is designed to be sort of an in-depth learning experience with certification, and therefore there's more asynchronous content here. That's a synchronous program, right? So secondly, the audience, the 4-day program is designed for senior decision makers, for CXOs. Here, this is for, our sweet spot is mid-managers. That doesn't mean that senior folks haven't taken this program, but that's another distinction. And as I said, you get a certificate at the end of this program. You don't get a certificate there. And that program, because it's designed to have live interaction with faculty throughout, is also significantly more expensive. I think the 4-day program is probably twice the price of what we've got here. And lastly, the content is different. That program is designed specifically to address the following question: how do we unlock value at scale? Right? How do we actually get to production grade, enterprise-wide use of AI? This program is far broader, where it really gives you the fundamentals of AI, applications across the entire value chain and so on. So that's basically the difference. They're complementary, but you really need to figure out whether you want to do some in-depth exploration and certification versus sort of a more live interaction with faculty and your colleagues, and for senior decision makers.
And so one last thing on this, Anonymous is asking, if in this 4-day program, is it recorded if they miss 2 or 3 hours of the session?
No, that is another thing. That if that program, you have to be there for all of the sessions. Right? And I would add, Rudolph, that's the benefit of this program, that the asynchronous sessions, you can do them whenever. Plus, we also record the live sessions. So everything is in this program will be recorded. So if time is more of an issue, like, you can't, or time zones for that matter. By the way, that live virtual program will only offer at a particular time zone, that is North America-based time zone. So I see some people here who are from, Asia and other places. So that's another, so it's like going to a classroom for 4 days. As simple as that.
Yeah. All right. So focusing on this program, Shiksha is asking, she had an impression that from the presentation that we focus on B2C companies, but she works for a B2B company. Does this also work for B2B companies? What we're going to talk about here.
Shiksha, you weren't listening. I was only talking about B2B. Come on, 80% of my work. I mean, is Enerwind a B2B company? Energy is. We're talking about. I talked about Adobe and Microsoft and Salesforce. These are all B2B companies, folks. The world is 70 to 80% B2B. Yes, we'll talk about some consumer applications, but rest assured, my muscle memory is B2B, and that is entirely sort of 75% of our emphasis is going to be on B2B, because I think that is where. But of course, the frameworks, they don't matter, right? I mean, customer facing, for instance, customer experience management, the tactics will be different in B2B, right, versus B2B, B2C. The lead nurturing that you have to do, the specific tools that you have to use for customer engagement may be different. But the idea that you need to engage customers across the experience, the idea that you have to progress them around the journey, those remain universal. So 2 observations, Shiksha, I'll make in response to your comment. 1, frameworks are applicable across contexts, across industries, across B2B and B2C. But secondly, if there is any bias here, it is actually a B2B bias, because that's where I spend a lot of my time. And because if you really look at the world, I think 70% of it is B2B. Think of a company like Microsoft. Even it's a B2B company, even though you think that people use Microsoft Office and so on, but they're sold to enterprises. So that's going to be our focus.
All right, then another question here from Anonymous saying, I'm transitioning between roles. Assume we can reshape the capstone project with this in mind. Please confirm yes, because we
Yeah,
have people
absolutely.
who...
In fact, let me say this, that this would be a fantastic opportunity for you to get a better handle on your new role, writing a memo to the CEO from the perspective of your new role. And I want to also point out that the organization that you choose to focus on for your capstone project can be three different situations. Situation one is it can be your company and your role, right? Currently, memo to the CEO for your. Secondly, it can be, let's say you're in between jobs and you're trying to find a new job, say in the financial services industry. This capstone project can help you position yourself for that job by writing a memo to the CEO for a prospective client. So let's say you say, okay, you know what? I'm going to assume that I am at Morgan Stanley or JP Morgan. And so you can do it from a perspective too, right? And third is the scenario that was outlined in this question, which is I'm doing product management, or I'm a developer. I'm moving into product management, or I'm moving from product management to marketing, or I'm moving from marketing to corporate strategy. Absolutely, use the capstone as you see best, either to enhance your role, or to reposition yourself for a new role, or to actually reposition yourself for a new employer if you are looking at a career transition, right? So that's the beauty of this capstone.
Okay, great. Now, Johan has a question about confidentiality in the capstone. All I would say here is that, of course, disguise it, right? Nobody is actually interested in a concrete name. So to protect yourself, disguise it. You can also disguise a couple of facts because we will not audit the numbers or any facts. So it's about concepts, how you apply them, and it's meant to be as realistic as possible for your benefit, right?
Yeah, and the other
Then
thing I'll say is that the capstone is not presented to everybody. It is presented to your program leaders. So, if you and unless you explicitly tell us that it's okay for us to share your work with other teams, we will not do that. So you are
that's another
also
thing.
you can have a present proprietary and company specific information that stays between you and your program leader and the faculty, and it doesn't go anywhere else unless you explicitly tell us otherwise. So you can use two strategies. One is strategy Rudolph identified, which is that you can disguise, and sanitize some of the data. But the other thing is you can tell us everything and it just stays with us, because this is not meant to be, you're not presenting this to the whole class. You're presenting it to your program leaders.
Right. So submissions are not visible to others. So that's also another thing to bear in mind. Anil is asking if there's any banking related AI programs specifically for use cases in internal audit and risk. This one is industry agnostic, as we said. So we're not going to go to specifics of internal audit and audit, for banking, etc. But any other comments on this?
No,
Mohan?
we absolutely have case studies and risk and compliance and all. But I'm not going to go into banking industry specific regulations and SOX compliance and Basel III or whatever it is. No, we will talk about how you look at enterprise risk, how you use, and there will be case studies. We actually have a fascinating case study where they use deep learning to look at the images of transactions and patterns to identify fraudulent transactions, right? So there's risk management, compliance, fraud, AML. We will look at case studies, but that's it. This is not a banking course. So we would absolutely look at enterprise risk management and compliance and audit. I have a lot of experience in audit. I served on public audit committees for 20 years. So yes, we will include that. But this is not a course on finance and AI. That requires a lot more. That's an industry specific. So we will have industry context, and we'll have functional context, but only to a certain level.
Great stuff. That's clear. And Timothy is asking if there's a place to see feedback reviews from others that have already taken the course. It's not something we have readily available, but if you listen to Mohan, he said this course has been around since 2019 and it's been recently updated as well. So the content is as new as it gets. And I think the proof that
I
it's a
do
top
believe,
five
Rudolph, we
course
have
is
some
that.
testimonials on the website.
Sure.
I think that there are
Okay.
some testimonials on the website, and but as Rudolph is pointing out, the proof of the pudding is not in the eating. The proof of the pudding is in people do coming back for a second helping. So I mean,
Yes.
having had almost 3,000 people go through this program, is evidence that it works. And another sort of data point, Rudolph, that I might like to add to them is that leading companies like Infosys, I'll give you an example of Infosys. Some of you might know Infosys is one of the world's leading IT services companies with about 250,000 employees. They found the content of this course so valuable that all the top 900 people at Infosys, the leadership team, including the board members, have gone through this program. Now that ought to tell you something, the value that you see. And I will issue you a challenge, all the people on the call. Talk to anybody senior at Infosys. They have know about this program and they've done it. That's just one example, right? We've done the same thing with consulting firms. EY partners have gone through this program, 1,000 EY partners. So so companies are also asking us for custom versions of this program because they find a lot of value in it. Rudolph, I did something interesting yesterday. I went to Perplexity and ChatGPT and I said, what is the best AI for business executives program at a business school? I'm just going to leave it to you. Go ask. Go ask ChatGPT, go ask Perplexity. And by the way, that is based, Rudolph, on reviews and what people have said and so on. And it says that the Kellogg program is unique. It's clearly the best. So I'm not saying it. You go ask third parties. I thought that was interesting because nowadays, we don't search Google. We actually search ChatGPT. We search Perplexity. These are the tools we use to try to understand, comparison shopping.
Wonderful. Anil is asking if there is a prescribed list of case studies or do we have any option to choose a specific area?
Well, Anil, it's a combination really, right? I mean, because the case studies that I will cover in the modules and the case studies that we will do in the assignments are obviously pre-assigned and but the capstone is where you get the opportunity to pick, so to speak, your own company and your own case study so I think the capstone is where you are able to apply all these ideas to not only an industry, but a company of your choice. But the frameworks that we talk about are obviously talk about a variety of industries, but that's not something you can choose. In the assignments, we have, like when we say we're going to do the Enerwind assignment, it's a case study on the energy industry, and you kind of have to do that because what we want to do is to have consistent learning across the participants. It'll create too much chaos if you kind of like BYO, bring your own case study. You can bring your own BYOC, bring your own capstone, right? Which, by the way, is the most important case study that you will do. So it's a blend.
Great stuff. And well, John is asking, he understands the case studies cannot be a wide net, but will the GE Mass General case study be presented in this course? I'm not sure it's included, but in any case, I would say
I mean, I do have case studies that now I'm trying to recall. I do remember the GE case study. Maybe that because GE is obviously a leading company in this in the context of using generative AI for medical diagnostics. And I am positive. Now, of course, I have to remember what all case studies I put there. But I'm positive that we have case studies related to, for instance, CT scans of COVID patients to sort of where deep learning was used to identify the level of lung opacity that is related to the seriousness of the COVID disease. And that analysis was used to figure out which patients should be given ICU beds. So we go pretty deep into healthcare.
And so what I wanted to say is there is a faculty session with Mohan, right? So anything that pops up, you of course can bring up there. Same thing with office hours. So that's also, I would say, an answer to Anil's question. If you can discuss risk and audit experience, how AI integrates, to some degree, of course, because there's one live session, right, with Vohan, and there are weekly sessions with program leader. But again, it's not industry specific course, but you can bring up other questions to make it as tailored as possible within those constraints to you. Follow-up question, Timothy is asking if the sessions are interactive on camera or they sort of like this information session where the module is presented to the captive audience. It's only presented to the people who are on the course, of course. And yes, it's meant to be interactive. So just like this one, as interactive as you will make it. So the idea is not to
Rudolph,
create modules.
I have to say, you're not a captive audience. What are we doing right now? We don't have anything on the slides. It's like, you tell me what question you want to ask. So it's a combination, folks. Whenever I do a live session, it is useful to present some framework, some concepts, but then we save a lot of time for Q&A and interaction. So I don't know. I mean, I hope you didn't feel that this was a canned session. I'm talking to you right now. I'm not recorded. I'm not an avatar. I'm not talking to a slide. I'm talking to you. Ask me any question. I'll give you an answer. So it's a combination, folks.
Right. Okay, so moving on to the next steps. There are some possibilities regarding financing. I think there was a question regarding discounts, etc. There are the only discounts are from group enrollment benefits and referral benefits. If there is somebody who referred you to this program, or if you take it as a group. We also help you if your employer is going to sponsor you. So sometimes you may need some paperwork for that. So that's of course available. And there are opportunities to pay in installments. All of these things you can find out more in detail if you like, if you schedule a call with an advisor. So you can have a follow-up call 101 with an advisor if you scan this QR code on my right. And if everything is clear for you, then you can just download the registration brochure and go ahead. And that's the QR code on my left. So either way, you can go already for the course, or you can still have an information session, so to speak, 101. And when it comes to links to apply, if you don't want to do the QR code, they will be in the chat, and they are already in the chat. So one of them is for the call with an advisor, and the second link is for application. So you can also have it in the chat if you are with us live. If you're watching this from the recording, you can always scan the QR code. It will lead you to the correct website.
I just want to respond to Wes's question in the chat. By the way, it's much easier for us to respond to questions in the Q&A, but I'll look at the chat anyway. Wes said, I'll be in Europe for the first 2 weeks. Will that be a problem? No, that's the whole point of this program. You can be anywhere. By the way, when I do my live sessions, sometimes I'm in Europe, sometimes I'm in Asia. I mean, that's the beauty of being able to do the program asynchronously and have the live virtual sessions. You can be anywhere. So absolutely, you can be in Europe and you can be doing this program. There are people in Europe who are on the call today, right? And Arpan, you have a question, but I don't understand what your question is. You're saying, is there a context of capability maturity on this course? Can you please clarify your question if you want it answered?
All right, so if you can clarify that in the chat, that would be great. Otherwise, once again, you have the link to register in the chat if you're with us, or you just scan the QR code, you take out your phone and you scan the QR code, it will lead you to the right place. And if you want to have a discussion offline, Katarzyna, then you can schedule a call with an advisor. You can have a one-on-one discussion, and everything will be made clear to you, I'm sure.
Okay, so Arpan's question is, will we talk about capability maturity? Absolutely. I described to you the entire capability maturity model that we'll be talking about, and which, by the way, is the second version of this. So I go through the whole sort of step. In fact, I have built a very detailed capability maturity diagnostic that will allow you to assess the capability maturity of your organization on a number of dimensions, from a strategy dimension, tools dimension, technology dimension, change management dimension, leadership dimension, and so on. So absolutely, capability maturity. Module 7 specifically is where we'll be talking about it. And we will have the capability maturity model, a framework, and a diagnostic. Right? So, yes, the most will be recorded sessions with a few live sessions. Absolutely. There will be, I think, 2 live sessions. In addition, of course, you have office hours weekly with your program leaders. So
And
that
they're
is
also recorded in case you missed them, yes. But the point
yes.
is that it's a mixture of asynchronous and live learning. So we know that you're busy professionals, so you can weave it into this course into your schedule as you deem fit.
Okay. So I think we've addressed most of the questions. So what we will leave you with is I hope that you are as somewhat as excited about it as I am. I think that what we built here is really a labor of love, and I think it really brings a lot of the current thinking and best practices and frameworks. So I hope to see every one of you in this program. We are currently running this cohort, right? We have, more than 350 people taking the course, and they've been, I've been getting a lot of emails from people saying that they are really excited by the new program. But this is the first cohort, by the way, that is going through the new version, which is the April cohort, and you will be the second. So really look forward to seeing all of you. Thank you so much. I know you're all busy. Thank you for spending an hour with us. I hope you found this information useful. I hope you also got to experience a little bit of my style and and what I bring to the program, because you're going to be watching a lot of me on video, so as well as in the live sessions. So thank you so much, folks. Really appreciate you spending an hour with us. I look forward to seeing all of you in the program.
Thank you. Great stuff, Mohan. Thank you for your time and for your insights, everybody, for great questions. And once again, if you have questions about the dates and things like this, you just click on the apply now. There you will see when the program starts. When it comes to the live sessions, that will be all explained to you during the orientation once the program starts. So thank you so much.